deployed at different times, into various agencies. So although I would say is doing well, as in so many areas, and when it comes to achieving gender equality. Of course, there are areas where we could do better. Before you take me on that.
No, no. Special advisor to the governor. Interesting that you've mentioned quite a number of things that the government is doing to ensure that the gender is actually included in the scheme of things, and it's quite impressive from some of the submissions you've made. And one would now wonder, look, education, health, security, it appears we have it all covered. And then you say perhaps what more do we really need? Because I'm looking at the submission of the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, that's Mohammed, talking about the fact that the long walk to freedom for women and girls is not finished yet.
No, it's not.
So at what point do we now say that perhaps that work is getting to the destination point? Are we near there at all? Perhaps in Ondo State, perhaps in Nigeria or in Africa?
I'll say that where we were years back is not where we are now. Where we are now is not where we'll be in a few years to come. We had a past where having a female head sub-agencies was almost strange. We had the past where having a woman attain some heights was almost impossible. We had a past where child marriage was allowed and not frowned at. We had areas where girl child education was not important. So now we know that nations are saying no to child marriage, because we know that child marriage totally disrupts the opportunities for a future for our young girls. We know that a lot of practices like female genital mutilation that affect the psychology of the girl child are being thrown out gradually, and other cultural norms that are also gender blind actually, are also evolving, are being and change is happening to them as well. We know that currently a lot of our girls also show interest and access opportunities in technology. Unlike the past where it was seen like a man's world. We know that we have a lot of our young girls who rise, who younger than women, who now also rise in fields that were seen to be men's world, men's field in the past, So where we were years back as a nation, as a state, is not where we are now. We are right now at a state, it's like when you want to move, when you are taking a journey, okay, you kickstart your vehicle, and then you begin with a slow trot initially, and you're warming up. So in the past, we started the vehicle of gender equality. We warmed up a little bit. Now we are on a steady move. And I know that on this steady move, we are not slowing down, we are not going back, rather we'll keep moving forward.
I also hope that you'll be observing traffic rules, really, because now that you're moving steadily. So let's now push this conversation forward, really, and talk about some of the areas that perhaps still need more work. You've talked about, you've acknowledged the fact that there is still more to be done and some areas to really be tidied up. But for you, looking at Nigeria today, where does it appear that we have a missing link in ensuring this inclusion drive that we're calling for?
Okay, so some years, about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we had our women from across the nation that stormed the National Assembly demanding that the passage of the gender equality bills and equal opportunity bills, because we know that we are in the Southwest. Perhaps we are lucky in some aspects. There are others, there are still places in Nigeria where women do not have a voice, where they don't have a say, where they are not to even be seen, and they're not even to be, they're only to be seen, just dotting corners as because they are women, but they're never to be heard. And we realized that if we do not have the right laws, hardly are we going to achieve the fast pace of development that nations where we have gender equality are achieving. We have nations in Africa that are on the fast run because they already have policies that insist on gender equality. They have policies that insist on parity between male and female, and as such, their society is already formed to see that women's rights is human rights, Women ascension is human ascension into or progress, and there's no problem about that anymore. But then when we had the laws thrown out, the bills thrown out, it was because we still had a higher number of legislators who were men as against female. Unfortunately for us, again, as women, at the last general elections, our numbers dropped.
Unfortunately.
Quite unfortunately, quite unfortunately, for a number of reasons. And we know that it may seem like achieving those gender bills may be even more difficult. But I know that we all know that these laws and this that we are trying to push through are ones that will ensure that every woman, no matter who you are, no matter where you are from, no matter your tribe, or religion, should have that sense of belonging, that sense of womanhood, that joy of being human, that sense of humanity, that sense that you are being respected, being loved, that sense that you can achieve whatever it is that you set your heart to without thinking about some laws, that some mindsets, some patriarchal mindset that will debar you. And that is why we will not rest on our hands in pushing for the right policies, the right laws that will ensure that Nigeria's progress is on the fast track. Without women, we cannot be on the fast track in Nigeria. Without women, we cannot achieve that holistic goal of development. Without women, we will not be there. We're not there yet. And that is why we'll continue to push for those laws and those policies, and also continue in the advocacy. Of course, as government also, let me speak on the advocacy is on the part of society now, But of course, even government also supported the fact that this bill should be passed, because when these bills are passed, it makes the work of governors easier, because governors will have less problems, when there are laws already in place. I'll give you an example. If a governor decides that he wants to, he has a gender balanced mindset, he has gender lens on, and wants to ensure that women have a sense of their place in society, and the political class are totally anti-women, what will it do? Just one voice out of so many? Even if he decides to go ahead, they will sabotage his efforts. And that is why the laws are also there to support even the work of the governors and the work of the top level leaders, to make their work easier, which is why we will continue to push for those laws so that we can have the right environment and the right legal framework nationally, for our women and girls to thrive. But of course, in Ondo State, I will definitely always bring down to Ondo State. Ondo is I'll call Ondo a vibrant, a fertile ground for our women. The only thing is that we just need our women to keep coming out, and of course, I'm sure that the more we are coming out to get counted, the more open the environment will be for us to thrive.
Okay. Yes, we are still moving on, getting women to do more, getting more opportunities for women, especially in governance and all that. Looking at the little that women have even gotten, what have they done with it? I mean, how have we fared? There was once on one of our programs, women always said, "Oh, how far have we fared as women with the opportunities that we've been given, especially in administration and in governance?"
Okay, well, women, I must say,
yes, because people would say that women are the greatest undoing of themselves.
Well, I always say nay to that.
Okay.
People are the undoing of people, not women against women, not men against men. If you and I work in the same organization and it's time for promotion, I will do all I can do to ensure that I will tweet you and get promoted, because I believe that promotion will earn my family, a higher, better quality of life and all of that. So I'll do whatever I need to do to ensure that I get promoted, and that is human. If I were to be a man and I'm competing against him, you can be sure that if we are at the contest, I will do whatever I can to outwit you. Of course, depending on the values each person holds anyway, we also have those who play the games in various ways. Some play it decent, some play the games, the rules rough and all of that, So I do not agree that women are the undoing of women. I've never agreed to that.
Okay.
It is just a human issue. It's not a woman problem.
Okay, so
men also work against themselves. Men pull men down. That is a fact. Men deal with their fellow men. men, mete out violence against fellow men.
But in this case,
it's not only about women.
Special advisor, in this case where it's a journey, just like you've mentioned, for more inclusion.
Yeah.
Would you say women are supporting women the way they should, looking at the fact that they're on a journey and they're looking towards a destination?
Yes, well, I know so many examples of women who have pushed other women up and are still doing so. I have so many examples of women who are there to just pat the other woman at the back. I'll give you an example of myself. Okay, before I got the appointment, I know, I can count number of women that I supported to attain political heights. Even before I got appointed for the first time as an advisor to the government agenda. And I know how many women that I also try to also encourage in this path as time goes on. I know many women that will know that we are also trying to see how also encouraging to also get on board and get things and get busy within the political space. So I know that this is not just about me. It's about a lot of women. I know so many women who call to encourage, who come around to just give encouragement. While during my first term as an advisor, and also currently, so women rally around themselves. They support themselves. They bond together. They work together. That is who we are. It is actually the men that come in to divide us. I can say that on
and you allow that. Is it really a house divided against itself?
The men are the ones who play the divide and rule thing with women. They will come around and begin to talk to this woman. Oh, do you know if you do this, you can hedge?
A Yoruba proverb is coming to my head now.
They poison the mind of these men against themselves, just so that they can have their way. You're going to believe that when they are united, they can actually achieve much. So their best bet is to divide them. So the men should please stop dividing us.
So how do this is beyond pleas to the men to stop that division, or perhaps that situation that you've mentioned. What do you think women themselves can do? Because when just like the Yoruba proverb coming to my head, when a structure is not opened, they say the lizard does not have the just literally. So of course, so yes. So in that case, when women are united, there will definitely be no room for division. True. Is that not the case?
Yes, when women are united, we're like a moving force that cannot be stopped, and the men know that. That is why a man who has 2-3 wives will always ensure that there's no harmony between them. Because you know that when there is harmony, there can be problem for him. He'd rather have them, looking at each other with suspicion.
Why is harmony?
He can always have his way. Of course, that is politics. That is politics because you believe that it's a divide and rule thing, which has worked. It's a Machiavellian policy which has worked in time past, and of course, we are all human. But I know that for us as women, I said it's a journey, and on this journey there's always communication. We always have conversations. By Friday, when we have our Women's Day event at the arcade grounds, we also talk to ourselves, and we'll keep talking to ourselves. We will not stop because it's important for us to always keep these conversations on the table. We'll keep talking about it, we'll keep educating ourselves, and of course, even if there are some who have been pitched against each other, they will learn from it. They will see clearly and see differently, and that is what we'll continue to do. It's not a one-day journey, it's not a sprint, but rather it's a marathon. And I'm sure that at the end of this marathon, we will come out victorious.
Come out victorious. Yeah. I like to join that assertion with you that we'll come out victorious. And Zaida, does that mean?
Of course, I'm also joining. We will come out victorious before you put
so I hope you'll be one of our he for she.
Yeah.
Of course.
But there's this saying, in the society, because there are certain women that are falling short of expectations when placed into vital roles. They've not been able to live up to the roles they ought to play. And because of this, men say, look, what's the quota we've given you? You're falling short of that. So why should we give you more? Because to whom, if you're faithful in little, you'll be faithful in much. So why should we give you more when you can't be faithful in little? What do you have to say to that?
Well, I would say that women have also given men enough opportunities. Of course, we have voted for them over years, year upon year. Some of them have done well, some have not, And we have not said because we voted for you and A, B, C messed up, So for CD and he will not vote for you again, we will only vote for others. No. So if we still vote for men after men have underperformed, then we should also still vote for women after women have underperformed. Keeping in mind that for every at the moment our democracy is still growing. We are not like nations that already have hundreds of years of democracy. You know, it may not be young anymore, but at least it is still in motion. And so what I strongly believe is that when we have women who underperform, and people see what happens to them because of their poor performance, it's a lesson to others. Yorubas will say, "Tí ọmọdé bá ṣubú, a ó wájú. Tí àgbàlagbà bá ṣubú, a wo ẹ̀yìn wò. A wo ohun tó gbé òun ṣubú." You know, and of course, ọgbọ́n ọlọ́gbọ́n ni èèyàn fi ń. Sorry, this is don't touch your back program, you know, but I'm a Yoruba woman, so what can I do? You know, you always learn from the mistakes of those ahead. You know, when you see where people are falling, you learn from their own errors, you learn from their mistakes. So I would say that that a woman has erred and not and underperformed it's not a reason to now close or assume that, oh, okay, all women, no woman can ever perform again, because men have also attained positions and not performed. But what we should advocate for is the right systems in governance, the right system that checkmates corruption, the right system that ensures accountability, the right system that ensures service delivery. If you know that you have those people to respond to, if for example you have a quarterly pally with your people, and you have to give your scorecard like the president has done with the Federal Executive Council, where ministers have their scorecards, and those who underperform are sure that they may be on their way out. You know, I'm sure that everybody will put on their thinking caps, and everybody and be on their toes, working. Unlike when there is no evaluation, there is no assessment, you are just there and there is no interface between you and the people cannot even ask you questions, then there will be a problem. So we should rather than looking at performance between male and female as yardstick for doing more, we should look at how do we strengthen our systems towards accountability, service delivery, and also ensuring that we also end corruption in our nation.
Earlier you mentioned anti-political class when it comes to the issue of women and their participation. And that brings me to the question on how women are penetrating that class, that political class, to perhaps change their mindset going forward.
Yeah, one of the things women are doing is through a performance. A number of women that I know who have performed well and are still performing well in their given area. I'll give an example for myself. I was appointed as an advisor by the late governor, late former governor, and reappointed, I'm sure not on political basis, but on the dint of performance. You know, so I'm sure that, and there are also other women, like the special advisor on education was reappointed as well, because also on data performance. So when women perform exceedingly well, you know, they will also write the history, you know, for other women, and for other men to rely on when they come. And this also shows the men that these women, when given the right opportunities, can actually do well and do even better. So women are showing the capacity through their activities, through their performance, through their service delivery to the people. You know, women are showing that yes, we have all that it takes to take on even bigger responsibilities. Women are, changing the narratives and convincing the men, you know, through, you know, their visibility in the system. And I'm sure that through all of this, the men will see that having a woman in position of authority is even a plus to every local government, every state, and indeed every nation.
So when the conversation around, let's include them, let's have them more in places. Usually there's this thought about, okay, this is a drive, this is for more inclusion. But on the other hand, you have social, religious, cultural issues also cropping up. And for anybody who is really concerned will say, well, how would they balance this? Isn't it too much? Would one not suffer? So in this case, when we're talking about women inclusion and perhaps in governance, in politics, in development, and all of that, the place of maintaining that balance between, one, the expectation of what the position or what the calling is offering, and on the other hand, the expectation of what is generally perhaps a norm, and finding that balance. How easy usually is it? Always.
Well, if I understand you quite correctly, you're looking at governments balancing a sort of people that's against the gender inclusion.
No, I'm looking at the person now, balancing
the
woman balancing,
yes.
because it usually come
responsibilities,
up. Responsibilities,
and,
say socially, culturally, there are laid down responsibility. Now we're coming into development. Well, good brain, good mindset, good capable hand. But really, the place of that balance is also a question that usually arises.
Thank you. Well, if there is anyone, any sex made by God that has been given, that has been imbued with skills for multitasking, it's the woman. Women are chief for multitasking. Women are also have been blessed with this skill towards these sensitivity skills, which ensures that you are sensitive to whatever happens in various sectors. And that is why it's even better to even have a woman in a position of authority than a man. I'm sure you want to. I'm sure
you've responded with your height.
Yeah, but the fact remains that a woman most times knows that at every sector there are expectations, either social, either religious, either family, and all of that, And for the fact that we are life bearers, a woman will not want to close her eyes to whatever happens to her child and say, oh, okay, and close her eyes to the needs of her own child. So she will all do whatever it is to ensure that the children, her husband, who is also one of her children, because that's why these days they call the husband's baby. So she always ensure that whatever needs to be done for our children, for to also have supportive men. When men support their women, the journey, the burden is lighter. It is easier. When the man doesn't insist that by the time the woman gets back home at 7 p.m., that she has to go and pound yam, has to go and buy fresh vegetables and begin to cook at that 7 p.m. and prepare one very massive load of pounded yam and kneel down to give it to him so that he can eat and feel good, at that odd time of the evening. When men realize that the woman realize that there could be challenges, but with the supportive word and all that, it is there for her. When the husband knows that yes, the woman could have had a rough day and doesn't add to the patch to the rough patch by also nagging or making excessive demands or making demands that may not be necessary at that time. It is easier for the woman. So what we always preach is that men should please support their women. Even if you have a man who has a terrible wife, a nagging wife, he will have problems at work. He will make wrong policies. He will upturn the entire space, because he may not have the right mindset to do his work well. So the same way it is for a man who needs a lovely, comely woman, who has listening here to listen to all his problems, so that by the time he comes home, he has somebody to pour out his heart to, Same way the woman also deserves to also have a partner who she can pour her heart to, and who will be a listening ear, who will be a support system, for her when she gets home. When we have men supporting their women supporting their men, then our leaders can have the right framework of mind to ensure balance in all their sector. They can achieve balance in the religious, in the economic, in the family sector, and there will be no problem at all in the home. So we need each other to work well. We need the left to watch the right to watch the left, and both hands working together in unison. And that is why the body, like we know, is not complete without a part of the body. That is why a bird cannot fly and soar with just one wing. We need both wings well set, for us to be able to sail. So please, we are appealing to our men. Please support our women to thrive. It's not a competition. We're not competing. We don't even need to compete. We all have our spaces. We don't. It's not about, oh, women want to take over. No, we just want to also contribute our own quota, the same way you are contributing your quota to the development of your state and development of your own nation. We also have all it takes, just like you, but we need you to support us and not pull us down or make the journey more difficult for us, or give us double standards, standards that are so high that we will not be able to attain, and lower it for the men and make it higher for the women. So please, we are appealing to our men, please support our women to thrive. When the woman thrives, the family thrives. When the woman thrives, society thrives. When the woman thrives, the entire world is happy. And what else do we need in our world if not happiness?
What else do we need in our world, really, if not happiness? And let's take the discussion a little, further. Part of the action plans for the 2024 celebration of the International Women's Day is supporting feminist change makers, and that word feminism and feminist in quote, has been given all manner of interpretations and colorations. Some men, the moment you've come with your feminism, you've come with your feminist scope, and then they're turned off. To you, how would you describe feminism?
Well, for me, I identify as a feminist,
Okay.
and I'm unapologetic about it. But feminism, like you said, is not what people think it is. Feminism is not about saying, oh, to hell with the men. No. Feminism is not about saying, oh, okay, we're going to take over the world. We want to send all the men to Mars.
We run the world.
Because really this is our world. We both own this world. Feminism, rather, it's about you being aware of your rights as a woman, you being confident of your position as a woman, and you being also confident to help another woman attain their own rights. That's just feminism. But of course, our men believe that, oh, feminism is about the fight, it's about... No. I'm confident of myself as a woman, and I'm not afraid to be a woman. I wouldn't want to change from being a woman. If I would come another world, I would still want to come as a woman. That is feminism. And because I'm confident and I'm happy being a woman, I'm not afraid to allow you as a woman to thrive. Rather, I'd rather be the one to pat you on the back and say, oh, you look beautiful, I like your hair, it's wonderfully made, encourage you. And that is feminism. Feminism is about saying that we have rights, and we want those rights enshrined in any constitution across the world. Feminism is about saying that we have abilities, and we can achieve whatever we set our minds to, just like the men. Feminism is about saying that because I am a woman, I should not be debarred from attaining to any height. I should not be stopped from becoming a chairman of a council, the governor of a state, the president of a nation, the prime minister, because I'm a woman. It's about saying that these gifts are God-given. They are innate. Allow me express myself. Feminism is also about saying that I have a voice. I'm a woman with a voice, and I'll use this voice not only for myself, but also to help others who may not be as privileged as me. That is just feminism. So it's important for us to keep talking about this and educating the men. That you should just, when you see a woman who is assertive, don't get hedgy, rather get comfortable with her. In fact, it is better to have a woman as a partner who is assertive than have a woman who is laid back. A woman who is laid back will take anything and give you the wrong notion about the world. But a woman who is assertive will make you realize that, yes, in every decision I make, I must always factor in the other gender and ensure that their right, their thought is also factored into whatever plans and programs that I have.
I quite I like your perception of feminism. I quite like that, and I would like you to say to the cameras, to the young girl there, what feminism is not.
Okay, feminism is not about saying that I want to turn to become a man. No, it's not about saying that yes. It's not about. It's also not about sexual rights. Sexual rights is where we begin to talk about whether you're gay, you're lesbian, you're transgender. That is a different ballgame entirely, and that is not feminism. You know, feminism is not about saying that we want to do away with the men. Because of course, if we do away with the men, how will women get pregnant? And how would the world go? How will we procreate and have more children that will look beautiful like we do? You know, and of course, have boys that also look good like them. You know.
Okay.
We are putting in the middle now.
Let's see.
You know, but feminism is also not about saying that. It's not about
It's not
saying
to
that.
hell with the man.
Yeah, to hell with anybody, to hell with the man. You know, no. Feminism is about saying that I know my rights, I know I have rights, and I will use this right to better my life and life of those who are around me. So, as a young lady, as a woman, be confident of yourself. Be happy you are made a woman. You are beautiful. Look at yourself in the mirror every morning. You are beautiful. You're wonderfully created. You are created by God for a purpose. And this purpose is one that you just have to achieve, because it would be too sad if you go, if you live a world, live your life and live the world with all of these dreams and aspirations still there in your belly. So young lady, young woman out there, please bring out those dreams you have. Turn them from dreams into reality and see how happy the world will be that you have done so.
All right, Special Advisor to Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa on gender. Are you really bothered? Because you're not Special Advisor on women matters, but on gender. Are you really bothered that all of this inclusion, we have about just a minute to wrap up the program.
Okay.
That this inclusion drive is also in a way perhaps leading to the neglection of some other areas we should also be focusing on. Talking about, you see some job applications, they say females only, see some, you say female are encouraged to apply, and the guy will be thinking, do we have even...
No, when job
not just about job, not just about job.
When they read about women are encouraged to apply, it's because they are equal opportunity employers, and they also want a good number of females to also have the opportunity and have no fear that they will not be employed. Because when it comes to this area, we have had many employers who say, because you're a woman, we don't want to employ you, because we know that as a woman, a time will come when you want to have babies, and we cannot afford the time, we cannot give you the time for maternity leave and all of that. And we know that without maternity leave, how do you breed and nurture little babies? It may be very difficult. And these are parts of life. We are here in the world to live, to eat, to look good, and to procreate, you know. And so if at the door of procreation there are challenges, the woman also gets affected, you know, by that. Right. You know. So I would say that gradually we are also, like you said, I am advisor to Mr. Governor on gender. Part of my responsibility is ensuring that there is a balance. You know, I know that in the past I've ensured that we've had balance in programming for both male and female. We will continue to do that. Continue to ensure that both men and women have that sense of belonging. And trust me, come November 19, we'll be having International Men's Day. And I hope you guys will also celebrate yourselves on that day.
You will not celebrate us.
We will celebrate you now.
Celebrating you
we will
now.
celebrate you.
Okay. So we really hope that your task of ensuring that balance would also go on successfully. And of course, perhaps we also have another time to talk about the mandate you're receiving from Mr. Governor on this office that you're holding in our other discussion going forward in the days ahead.
Thank you.
All right, it's been a robust discussion here on the show this morning with Mrs. Olamide Falano, SA to Mr. Governor from the state on gender matters. It was nice having you, and we hope to have you some other time. My name is Fola Shade Ogido. I'm from Zaid.
Yes, it's Wednesday, midweek, but of course, so much to still do. Thank you so much for being part of our world, and enjoy the rest of your day.